So let's proceed with the physical therapy management for the cardiopulmonary conditions, pediatric cardiopulmonary conditions. So the main goals of PT are your improved airway clearance, ma-enhance natin yung lung expansion, na-prevent natin po yung mga contractures, deformities, no, postural deformities, ma-improve din natin yung mga endurance and functional capacity of our patients. So we usually use combination of breathing techniques, no? As well as yung mga positioning, stretching, strengthening, aerobic training, depending on the condition, as well as to the stage of recovery ng pasyente. So first, let's discuss your Buteyko breathing technique. So one breathing technique which we can teach patients is your Buteyko breathing technique. So here's the basic process. So number one, the patient breathes normally through the nose for about 2 to 3 minutes. Then exhale normally and pinch the nose using fingers. So, yung pasyente, hinuhold yung breath and we record the number of seconds. When the first urge to breathe appears, release ngayon yung nose and return to normal nasal breathing. So, this is called your control pause. So, wait for about 3 minutes, then repeat the process, but this time hold the breath as long as possible. This is called your maximum pause. So the goal of this technique is reduce the hyperventilation and improve breathing control of our patient. So ito po ay ginagawa for asthma patients or for patients with anxiety. Okay? So let's watch muna yung video paano ginagawa si Buteyko.
So we're going to teach you Buteyko breathing, which is a tremendous tool to help your nervous system shift from a sympathetic fight and flight activation to parasympathetic mode. And this is a tool we give our clients and we want to share it with you. So Buteyko breathing was actually created specifically by this gentleman whose last name was Buteyko, and he was working with people with asthma and COPD. What they have found is that this is extremely helpful in shifting the nervous system, not just for breathing conditions, but actually also dealing with stress and anxiety. Okay, so I'm going to coach Brady through this, and he's going to do this and essentially try it along with us, see what this feels like. Okay, the key is that we're going to be breathing through our nose only. So let's keep the mouth closed, and we're going to be using our left hand to hold our nose because we're going to be inhaling, exhaling both through the nose, and then holding our breath for a specific count. So in this position, just take a few regular breaths through the nose. And if you're not used to it, it might feel a little claustrophobic, but hang in with there. Then I'm going to wait till he exhales. Go and then inhale 1, 2, exhale 1, 2, 3. Block your nose and we're going to count 1, 2, 3. Let it go. Inhale 1, 2, exhale 1, 2, 3. Block the nose and relax the stomach. 1, 2, 3. Inhale 1,
nose lang
2,
inhale and
exhale 1, 2, 3. Block the nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale 1, 2, exhale 1, 2, 3. Block the nose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale 1, 2, exhale 1, 2, 3. Block. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 1, 2, exhale 1, 2, 3. Block. 3, 2, 1. One more. 1, 2, exhale 1, 2, 3. Block. 3, 2, 1. Drop the arms and just slowly inhale through the nose. Just a few extra breaths in and out. And doesn't take very long. You can do it pretty much anywhere.
You can progress. So, you can progress yung holds natin. So first, you have your 3 seconds hold. You can do 5 seconds hold. No? And you can also progress pa din siya. And you can do this 2 to 3 minutes. Malinaw po? Okay. So, pakibasa po yung yung instructions natin kanina doon sa first slide natin. So, next, we have your positioning. So, for positioning is very important, especially for those patients na nag-undergo ng surgery. So, for post-surgical pediatric patients. For example, we have our multi-podius boot na may be used for our patients. So, yung mga boots na yan, it could help prevent yung plantar flexion contractures, ma-improve yung hip rotation alignment, ma-protect yung heel from pressure injuries. So, yung child, no, for example, nag-underwent sa surgery, so we should correct positioning to help prevent contracture formation, to help prevent yung mga pressure sores, as well as postural problems. So, dyan papasok yung mga scar massages natin. So, ang scar massage, tandaan ninyo, is usually started around 6 weeks post-operation. No? 6 weeks post-operative. No? Doon ka lang magbibigay ng scar massage. Once the incision is already healed. So mga techniques natin, we have our circular motions, the up and down stroke, side-to-side movements. So ang goal ng inyong scar massage is to improve yung tissue mobility, ma-prevent yung adhesions, at ma-reduce yung scar tightness. No? So we can use scar massage. Malinaw. Next, we have our flexibility exercises or flexibility training. Very important yan, especially for those patients na merong restricted thoracic cage and chest wall problems. So we can use equipment like yung mga bolsters, therapy balls, towel rolls, wherein this can help yung thoracic cage stretching more comfortable for the child. So sometimes yung stretch natin needs to be held for longer durations, and this can even be part of the home program. For example, yung child nag-watch lang ng TV, nagbabasa, nagre-read ng book, you can do stretches. No? So ang main goal natin is to improve the chest wall mobility for better breathing mechanics. No? Kaya natin ginagawa si flexibility exercises. For aerobic exercise or endurance training, it is a very important, crucial for improving cardiopulmonary endurance. So for recommended guidelines, ang frequency sabi daw po 3 to 7 times per week. Ang duration 30 to 45 minutes per session. Ang intensity, we can start at about 60 to 65% of the maximal workload for stable patients. And we can also use monitoring of the Borg rating of perceived exertion scale. Ideally, ang patient should stay around 11 to 15. Tandaan ha, 11 to 15 on the 20-point Borg scale, which corresponds ngayon to light to somewhat hard intensity. So this helps ensure yung exercises na ginagawa natin is safe without overexertion for our patients. Malino po ito. Okay? So before aerobic, kunin ang target heart rate, Carvonen's formula, per Borg scale also, and other vital signs. BP, heart rate, respiratory rate, as well as your O2 sat. Next, we have our strength training for children who underwent cardiac surgery. We must follow external precautions. Usually, for the first 6 to 8 weeks, ang restrictions lang natin, i-avoid natin yung lifting for more than 10 pounds, i-avoid din natin excessive strain on the chest. Usually, first 6 to 8 weeks yan, ha? Meaning, your strength training is typically introduced around 2 months after surgery. So when starting training or strengthening exercises, manual resistance muna is usually better. Bakit? Kasi bakit siya manual resistance lang? Kasi it allows better control of the intensity. Also, it is safer for pediatric patients who are just starting strengthening programs. We also have your tracheal tickle. So another airway clearance technique po iyan, sometimes used for our pediatric patients. Your tracheal tickle. So yung technique na yan, nasa-stimulate yung cough reflex dun sa inyong tracheal area by gently applying pressure or stimulation around the trachea. So anong goal natin dyan? To trigger coughing, ma-help natin mobilize and expel secretions from the airway. Okay? So this can be useful for patients who have difficulty producing effective cough. Kung hindi nauubo ang pasyente, hindi makapag-expectorate, hindi mag-tracheal tickle kayo. So in pediatric cardiopulmonary rehabilitation, ang goal natin dito is not only treating lungs, but also improving yung posture, yung mobility ng pasyente, endurance, and overall functional capacity of the child. Okay? So let's go over to the spirometry, which is a really important tool to assess the function of the lung. So equipment and setup, we use a spirometer with a single-use mouthpiece. So make sure natin yung pasyente wears the nose clip so that all air goes through the mouth only. So ask the patient to breathe normally first, then take a big breath in and blow out as long as possible. This is called your vital capacity. So important things to note, we have the age, race, and the height of the patient, wherein this determine the predicted values. Tandaan, ang spirometry, hini-help na tayong i-measure yung FEV1, the FVC rather, and as well as your FEV1 over FVC ratio, which is the key to distinguishing obstructive or restrictive lung disease ba meron ng pasyente. So we perform this test 3 times for reliability. So the best two results should be within 5% or 100 ml. No? Yung FVC ninyo is measured during forced expiration while your vital capacity is measured during slow, gentle expiration. So take note, in COPD patients, no, your vital capacity is usually greater than your forced tawag din functional vital capacity. Okay? Your FVC in COPD. So let's see ano bang nangyayari kapag may spirometry.
The main diagnostic test for COPD is called spirometry. Spirometry is a lung function test that assesses how much air goes in and out of your lungs and how fast it does so. You should ask your healthcare provider to test you with spirometry if you are over 40 and you're a smoker or an ex-smoker, if you are out of breath, or if you cough very frequently, bringing up a lot of mucus. In general, if you have concerns for your lung health, or if you are already diagnosed with a lung disease. Spirometry is a very sensitive test and can catch a lung disease at its very early stages.
Hi, welcome to the Pulmonary Function Lab. I'm Mark, and I'll be doing your spirometry today. So on this test, we will ask you to exert yourself. So I want you to be comfortable, and we don't want any clothing that's going to restrict your chest expansion or your performance. So if you want to take your jacket off and make yourself comfortable,
Sure.
and I'll ask you to have a seat here. So we are primarily measuring the total amount of air you can blow out, but also we're measuring how fast you can blow it out. We're trying to measure that maximum amount you can blow out in the first second. So after you get on the mouthpiece and put the nose clips on, I'll ask you to begin with a few normal breaths, and then at a certain point I'll ask you to take a fast deep breath all the way in, and I'll tell you to blast it out, and just want you to immediately blow it out as hard and as fast as you can. And we have certain flow and volume criteria that we have to meet. So even after you blow it out and you feel like you may be empty, I'll still coach you to keep blowing, keep pushing, keep going. And then after a few seconds, I'll ask you to take another fast deep breath back in, and then I'll ask you to come off the mouthpiece. So let's go ahead and try it. Go ahead and put the nose clips on. You want to be sure that you can't breathe through your nose. And this mouthpiece is like a snorkeling mouthpiece, so I need your lips over the outside portion of it and your teeth go behind it, teeth biting down the two tabs. And just want to be sure your tongue is not including the hole in the mouthpiece. And just want you to begin with some normal breathing. All right, and now take a fast deep breath in and blast it out. Keep blowing, keep going. You're doing great. Keep going, keep pushing out, keep pushing. And take a fast deep breath all the way back in. That's great. You can come off that mouthpiece, and you can take those nose clips off.
As you can see, spirometry is an easy test to take. Talk to your provider about spirometry.
Okay? So iba po sa spirometry kay incentive spirometer. Spirometry is for assessment, IS is for treatment. So incentive spirometer, no, your IS, helps encourage deep breathing and it can prevent atelectasis. Ano instructions natin? So dapat ang pasyente nakasit upright or nakastand. Tapos, i-place yung mouthpiece in the mouth, syempre, and seal the lips. So inhale slowly and deeply, aiming to raise the indicator as much as possible. So we hold the breath for a few seconds, then exhale normally. So it can be repeated as prescribed. Okay? So anong ginagawa kapag spirometer naman? Incentive spirometer.
Okay, first let's go over some wrong ways to use an incentive spirometer. A lot of times if patients haven't been educated properly, they will do what they think you're supposed to do naturally with it by blowing into the device rather than actually inhaling from the device. Another wrong way patients may try to use an incentive spirometer is by quickly inhaling and exhaling off the device like this. Now let's look at the right way to use the incentive spirometer. Okay, first what you want to do is you want to set the goal for the patient with the yellow marker so they know where they need to get whenever using this incentive spirometer. Then you're going to have the patient set up and exhale completely. Then have them seal their mouth around the mouthpiece tightly. And they will inhale slowly and deeply, making sure to keep the yellow indicator on the side within normal range. They don't want that little yellow piece to go too high or too low. And as they do this, the piston will rise up. And have the patient keep inhaling as deep as possible until they can't inhale anymore, and then they'll need to hold their breath for 6 seconds and then exhale slowly and allow the piston to fall before repeating again, and record the amount that they were able to get on the incentive spirometer. And they will perform this at least 10 times every hour or two while awake. So this is what it looks like in action.
Nakita niyo before siya nagbuga, may holds muna. So ano yung ating instructions, no? First, introduce muna kung ano yung parts ng inyong IS, okay? So number 1, todong bumuga sa labas ng mouthpiece. Ilagay ang mouthpiece sa bibig at humigop ng hangin sa abot ng makakaya. Patalihin pong nasa gitna ng dalawang arrow ang indicator. Alisin ang mouthpiece, pigilan ang hininga sa loob ng 3 segundo, 1, 2, 3, at dahan-dahan pong ibuga ang hangin na para bang umiihip ng kandila. Ulitin ng 10 beses sa kada isang oras tuwing gising ang isang individual o ang pasyente. O yan po ang ating instructions for incentive spirometer. Next, we have your peak flow meters, no, which are used to monitor airway obstruction, especially in asthma. So we use a single-use mouthpiece, stand or sit up straight to maximize yung lung expansion. Tapos iseal yung lips around the tube and then inhale fully, then blow out as hard and fast as possible. So i-repeat yung testing for 3 times and record the highest reading. For PEFR interpretation, so we compare the value against predicted charts, no? So during an acute attack, we have your 50 to 75% moderate exacerbation, 33 to 50% severe exacerbation, and less than 33% life-threatening. So our goal is to keep PEFR greater than 80%, no, of the predicted or personal best. Okay? So for to visualize properly the technique, we have your video demonstration.
A peak flow meter is a device that measures the air coming out of your lungs as you blow hard into the device. This measurement is called your peak expiratory flow rate. It can tell you if your airways are getting narrow well ahead of an asthma attack. Using a peak flow meter can also tell you when to get emergency medical care, how well your asthma treatment plan is working, also if your medications need adjustment, and what triggers your asthma attacks. Peak flow zones. Peak flow zones are like traffic lights. Red means danger, yellow means caution, and green means safe. Peak flow zones can help you know when your asthma is getting out of control. This is how peak flow zones work. Green means your asthma is under control, and you are between 80 and 100% of your personal best peak flow measurement. Yellow means your asthma is getting worse, and you may need to use quick relief medications. You are between 50 and 79% of your personal best peak flow measurement. Follow your asthma action plan, as directed by your healthcare provider. Red means you may be in danger. take your quick relief medication and get medical help immediately. You are below 50% of your personal best peak flow measurement. Use your peak flow meter to measure your lung function every morning before taking your asthma medications. When you are having asthma symptoms or an asthma attack, after taking medication for an asthma attack, and any other times your healthcare provider suggests. Use colored tape to mark your personal peak flow levels on your meter, and be sure to add the numbers to your written asthma action plan. Bring your peak flow meter and your log of daily peak flow numbers with you when you visit your healthcare provider. Show your healthcare provider how you use your meter to be sure you are doing it right. Follow these steps to take your peak flow reading. Step 1. Move the marker on your meter to 0 or to the lowest number on the scale. Stand up. If you can't stand, sit up straight in a chair. Be sure you're in the same position each time you do this test. Step 2. Take a deep breath. Fill your lungs all the way. While holding your breath, put the mouthpiece of the meter between your teeth and close your lips tightly around it, making a tight seal around the mouthpiece. Be sure your tongue does not block the hole. Blow into the mouthpiece once as hard and fast as you can. Your peak flow meter will measure how fast you can blow air out. Take the meter out of your mouth. Check where the marker has moved to on the numbered scale. Write this number down. Step 3. Move the marker back to 0. Repeat those same steps 2 more times, then record the highest of the 3 numbers in a daily log. This is your peak flow number. Each person has a personal best peak flow number. To establish your personal best, take your peak flow measurement at the same time in the middle of each day for 2 to 3 weeks, when your asthma is under control. Your personal best peak flow measurement may change over time. Ask your healthcare provider when you should test your peak flow measurement and find your new personal best. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and support us to learn more. Thank you.
Another video for peak flow.
A peak flow meter measures how fast and hard you can blow the air out of your lungs. Before each use, make sure the sliding marker is at the bottom of the numbered scale. Stand or sit up straight with your chin slightly lifted and look straight ahead. Keep this position for the entire time. Blow out and empty your lungs as much as possible. Breathe in deeply to completely fill your lungs with air. Put the mouthpiece between your teeth and close your lips tightly. Do not put your tongue on the mouthpiece. Blow out as hard and fast as you can through the mouthpiece. The sliding marker will move up the scale. Look at the number on the meter to see where the marker stopped. Repeat the steps and measure your peak flow 3 times. Record the highest number you reached. Be sure to reset the meter to 0 before each time that you blow into the meter. Keep a record of your peak flow number around the same time each day for 2 weeks while you are feeling well. The highest number is called your personal best peak flow. Your asthma action plan will use your peak flow numbers and give instructions on how to treat your asthma based on your symptoms and peak flows.
Tandaan ha, peak flow natin meter is an assessment tool, not a treatment tool. Okay? So let's discuss your allergy testing for asthma also. So during the allergy testing or allergen skin test, we expose the patient's skin to substances that might cause an allergic reaction. So the most common test is the skin prick test, which checks for immediate reactions to severe allergens. So yung allergens na tinatest natin usually include your weeds, trees, molds, grasses, dust, mites, and animals. So after the test, yung nurse will document which allergen or allergens cause a reaction, positive or negative. And sometimes, may gel or topical relief na ina-apply to reduce irritation from positive reactions. Okay? To better, nakalagay naman siya sa forearm nilalagay. Okay? To better understand the allergen test, we have your video. That's it for your allergen test. So let's discuss now your pulmonary function test. No? Assessment din to, no? So for pulmonary function test, very important yan for PTs working with cardiopulmonary patients. Ano ang ginagawa niya? Kasi minimeasure niya yung mga lung volumes, yung lung capacities, yung flow rates, as well as the gas exchange. Because basically, it tells us how well the lungs are working. No? Ano bang purpose niyan sa PT practice? So it can diagnose different respiratory conditions. Na-identify kung COPD ba siya, asthma, pulmonary fibrosis, restrictive lung diseases. And monitoring disease progression, no? Na-track nito yung lung function, changes over time, especially pag may cystic fibrosis or interstitial lung disease ng pasyente. No? Meron din siyang pre-operative assessment. No? It can evaluate the lung function before major surgeries. No? Kung thoracic or abnormal surgery ba yan. Yung assessing, it also assess treatment effectiveness. At check niya kung how well the medication, yung pulmonary rehab, or the PT interventions are improving lung function. As well as it helps PTs design safe and effective exercise programs for patients with respiratory impairment. So ginagamit siya for exercise and rehabilitation planning. So to further understand what is your pulmonary function test, this is a video.
Welcome to the Columbus Community Hospital Pulmonary Function Lab. These tests are also referred to as PFTs or breathing tests. They are done to measure how well your lungs take in and exhale air. They also measure how well your lungs transfer the oxygen from the lungs to the bloodstream. Depending on your doctor's orders, you may be doing up to 4 different types of tests today. This is the machine that we use to perform your PFTs. It may appear to be a confined space. So if you have any problems with claustrophobia, please let us know and we will work with you. You will be asked to wear nose clips and place your lips around the mouthpiece, forming a tight seal at the start of each test. Spirometry is the measurement of the amount of air you can move during a single deep breath and the speed at which you can exhale the air. In this test, you will start out with your nose clips on and your mouth around the mouthpiece. You'll be asked to take a few normal breaths on the mouthpiece before taking a big deep breath. Once that deep breath is in, you will immediately blast your air out all the way until you are instructed to take a deep breath back in. This test may be repeated 3 or more times to make sure we have your best efforts recorded. Maximum voluntary ventilation, also known as MVV, is the measurement of the muscular strength in your lungs. In this test, you will start with your nose clips on and your mouth around the mouthpiece. You will be asked to take a few normal breaths on the mouthpiece, and when prompted, you will breathe deep and fast for 12 seconds. This test may be repeated 3 or more times to make sure we have your best efforts recorded. Diffusion capacity testing, DLCO. This test estimates how efficiently your lungs transfer oxygen to your bloodstream. This test could also require a blood test. You will start out with your nose clips on and your mouth around the mouthpiece. You will be asked to take a few normal breaths on the mouthpiece. Then you will need to slowly and completely exhale all of the air from your lungs. After that, you'll be instructed to take a steady deep breath in and hold that breath. Keep holding until you are asked to completely exhale all your air again. This test may be done at least 2 times, but no more than 5. Lung volume measurements. This is a 2-part test that measures your absolute lung volumes, or your total lung capacity, along with a residual volume, or the volume of air that remains in your lungs after you exhale fully. This is the only test that requires the door closed on the testing box. It will only be closed for about 5 minutes, and you will always have the ability to open the door if you need to. Part 1 of the test starts with you sitting inside the box with the door closed for 1 minute prior to starting. This gives the inside temperature of the box the opportunity to adjust to your body temperature. We will instruct you to put on the nose clips and seal your lips around the mouthpiece. Make sure you are sitting up straight with your feet flat on the floor and your hands on your cheeks. Once you are set, we do not want you to move in the box. The only movement we want to see is your chest moving from breathing. You will begin with normal breathing followed by shallow panting. As you are panting, you will feel as if the mouthpiece has become blocked. Keep panting until instructed to go back to normal breathing. You will be asked to do this at least 2 more times. The second part of the test can be done with the door open. You will start with the nose clips and your mouth around the mouthpiece. You will be asked to take a few normal breaths on the mouthpiece and then slowly exhale all of your air. You will then take in a slow, deep breath and exhale it back out again. You will be asked to do this at least 2 more times. Following your test, we will be unable to give out any results. Please contact your ordering physician's office to get your test results.
Okay, next we have your huffing technique, no, for airway clearance. So let's go over the huffing technique, which we teach patients for airway clearance. So sit on a chair with both feet on the floor. Take a slow, deep breath through your nose and hold for 2 counts. Exhale through your mouth, making a huff sound in your throat. Repeat 2 to 3 huffs as you exhale. Tapos mag-relax tayo for a few seconds before the next cycle. So ang huff, no, nagtutulong po yan to move mucus from smaller airways to the larger ones, making it easier to cough out. So through huffing, we can encourage patients to breathe slowly and not force the huff. Otherwise, it can increase fatigue. Tandaan yun, ha? So, yung huffing, para siyang gumagawa ka ng hamog sa salamin. Yun ang instruction natin. So, parang ha, huff, ha, ha, ha. Ganun ang gagawin. Okay? To further see kung paano gagawin yung huffing, this is your video.
Take a full breath in through the nose, out through your mouth to create a huffing action. Take a full breath in through the nose and then force the air out through your mouth to create a huffing action. You can also vary the technique by taking a long breath in, followed by a half huff out. Or take a shorter breath in, followed by a long huff out. You should find it easier to cough up your trapped mucus.
O kung nakita nyo kanina, meron siyang hawak na tissue. No?
Find it
In
easier to
preparation, kung meron man siyang ma-expel or ma-expectorate na mucus secretion. No? Or kung walang tissue, pwede po basin, yung kidney basin natin. Okay? For thoracic cage stretches, no, this is one of the important exercises for our patients with cardiopulmonary condition. Kasi it improves chest wall mobility as well as yung lung expansion and the overall breathing mechanics of our patient. So, ano starting position? Uupo sa chair, yung hands mo nasa ribs, engage mo yung core mo in the pelvic floor para ma-straight ang back. No? Tapos, ang movement, slowly inhale through your nose, then exhale through your mouth. Try na feel yung both your abdomen and rib cage habang humihinga. So, dapat walang sakit or pain. Kung pagod, stop muna and pahinga. Pwede rin pong gawin yan sa bahay while watching TV para mas tolerable. Tapos, tandaan, pwede kayo magbasa pa ng libro. Supported po yan ng Kisner 5th edition, ha? Yung pulmonary rehab section. Remember, yung CIRAT demonstration natin last semester, nandun din po yan. So, visual cues help a lot for proper technique. Okay? So, march on the place or march on the spot, good po yan for endurance, coordination, and knee mobility and balance. So, ano instructions natin? So, we perform slow marching in place. Always monitor oxygen saturation, hindi dapat bababayan sa 95%. Tapos, opposite arm moves with opposite knee. To make it harder, tataas naman yung opposite arm overhead habang tinataas yung knee. So, we try staying in the same spot throughout the exercise. So, we check dapat muna yung Carbonen's formula ha kung gagawa ka ng cardiopulmonary exercise program. Tapos, yung Borg scale din should be assessed, Should be light to somewhat hard. Diba sabi natin kanina, 11 to 15 on 20-point scale for stable patients. Paano ginagawa? Alam niyo naman siya. Pero
march on the spot. Keep your knees up and move your opposite arm with the opposite knee. To progress, lift your opposite arm above your head when lifting your knee up. Try to stay in exactly the same spot throughout your march. This exercise is good for knee mobility, endurance, balance, and coordination.
Okay? So, pwede mong gawing progression dyan, step ups and step downs, ha? Either repetitions or in minutes, yung inyong parameters. Next, we have relaxation and breathing exercises. Finally, essential yan for stress reduction and diaphragmatic breathing. Some position, sit sa chair with shoulders, head, and neck supported sa back. So, ano instruction? Inhale through your nose, feel your belly fill, Tapos exhale through your nose. Place one hand on your belly or the other on the chest. Tapos, habang humihinga in, feel the belly rise. Humihinga out, belly lowers naman. And the hand on the belly moves more than the chest dapat. Kasi dapat diaphragm ang gagana. So, take 3 to full breaths. Tapos, focus on full belly expansion. Patandaan ha, nasa Kisner din po. Pakibasa po ang inyong pulmonary rehab sa Kisner. So, review also yung different patient-specific programs for cardiopulmonary or pulmonary rehab, as well as yung other breathing techniques. Okay? Next, we have your autogenic drainage or your AD. Approach po yan was first introduced by your Chevalier and described by Dab and Alexander. It's mainly used for airway clearance, especially sa mga kids, bata with lots of secretion like her cystic fibrosis. For example. So, anong posisyon ng child? So, sit upright or in a chair. Ang breathing, take deep breaths at a normal or relatively slow rhythm. Tapos, ang goal natin, syempre, secretions move upward naturally. When they reach the trachea, pwede nang i-expel with gentle cough or slightly forced expiration. So, yung technique po na yan, ini-increase niya yung intrathoracic pressure to help loosen the sputum. Tapos, dapat meron tayo naka-ready na kidney basin for sputum. expectoration, expulsion rather. So, remind natin child always to drink water para ngayon ma-help yung pag-clear ng mucus sa lungs. Okay, di ba? Ang water for hydration, magiging thin yung inyong mucus. So, mas madali siyang may lalabas. Malinaw? Okay. So, we have your stage 1 and stage 2. For stage 1, na yung unstick secretions. So, stage 1 is all about loosening the secretions at the periphery. So, we breathe out as much air as possible. Tapos, ito-take natin yung small breath in using on the tummy, filling air at the bottom of your chest. So, you might hear crackling sounds. So, these are secretions moving up, no? So, important dito, ma-resist mo yung urge to cough, no? Tapos, repeat mo siya at least 3 breaths or 3 times. So, breathing at low lung volumes helps move peripheral secretions without triggering premature coughing. So, sabi dyan, breathing at low lung volumes gently loosens peripheral secretions without, tiring the child. Stage 2, no, focuses on the moving secretions from peripheral papunta sa central airways. So, may crackling becomes louder na, change to medium-sized breaths in, continue small breaths out. So, fill the airflow more in the middle of the chest. Repeat at least 3 breaths or 3 times. So, yung slow mid-range lung volumes, nakakatulong po yan to collect secretions from the central airways without fatiguing the patients, no? For easier expulsion. And then we have your stage 3, no, yung final phase, expelling secretions na from the central airways. So, yung crackles are loudest here. Take long, slow, full breaths to your maximum inspiration. Tapos continue with small breaths out. Repeat at least 3 breaths or 3 times. Then the child can cough gently to expel the sputum. So, high lung volumes and slow exhalation, no? Sabi niyo po, it can push secretion to the trachea for effective evacuation, no? Para ma-clear effectively. So, also, encourage natin yung pasyente, no? For hydration. Di ba, 8 glasses a day dapat, no? Making sure the technique is gentle also and always monitor the child's tolerance. Okay? So, ito naman po yung inyong video for autogenic drainage.
Autogenic drainage. First phase is the preparatory stage. During this phase, make sure you're well hydrated. Get a cup of water and drink until you feel that your throat is nice and moist. Afterwards, get a tissue and blow your nose. This is a very slow, long nose breath out that's quiet. It is not a loud breath. Once you feel your nose is clear, you can move on to the breathing technique. During this technique, place one hand onto your chest and one hand onto your stomach. This is to ensure when you take the breath in, you firstly breathe into the stomach before expanding into the chest. After the breath in, you're looking to relax the mouth for an inaudible, relaxed breath out. During this breath out, you're looking to breathe out as far as possible. You're also looking to hear a level of where the crackle might be. This is an indication of where sputum is. After the long breath out, take a very small breath in and then breathe out. Take a small breath in and breathe out. You're now breathing into the low volumes of your lung. Once you feel that the sputum or the crackle sound has started to move higher, you can then start to increase the breath in and a very small breath out. This then moves your breath to the middle of your lungs. You're then looking to take a slightly larger breath in to then move up to the top of your lungs. Take a small breath out and a long breath in. Once you feel you've got to the top of your lungs, you may feel that you need to cough. At this point, you can take 2 coughs. Try and limit it to 2 coughs to avoid any trauma to the lungs. If you manage to cough and clear, you can return back to the test breath to see if there's any more sputum or crackle sound on the chest. If so, repeat the cycle.
Laging 2 coughs tayo ha. Number 1, yung first cough, syempre tanggal po yung mucus secretion, and the second cough, yung pag-expel na. So, laging 2 coughs tayo. Okay? So, ito yung inyong instructions for autogenic drainage. So, number 1, hinga ng konti. Pigil, 1, 2, 3, buga ng todo. Tapos, hinga ng normal. Pigil, 1, 2, 3, buga ng normal. So, bakit buga na lang ng normal? Kasi, tumaas na yung inyong sputum. Okay? And the third, hinga ng malalim. Pigil, 1, 2, 3, buga ng konti. Konti na lang. Kasi po, medyo nasa taas na siya. No? Nasa central airways na siya. Tapos, kapag nararamdaman mo na yung sputum, mucus secretion, palabas na siya, ubo ka. Mas mararamdaman mo din pa, ubo ka na eh. No? Ubo ka 2 times. Okay? Dapat may naka-ready tayong basin or tissue. Malinaw? Okay. Next technique is your positive expiratory pressure or your PEP. Super useful po yan para mobilize yung mucus sa lungs, no, lalo na sa kids or patients with cystic fibrosis or chronic bronchitis. Paano ba siya nag-work? No, how it works, no? So patient breathes through a mask or handled mouthpiece, tapos air flows freely when inhaling, pero kapag exhaling, kailangan mong huminga against resistance. Breathing out against the resistance takes about 4 times longer than inhaling, pero ano ba yung mga benefits niyan, no? We have the air gets behind the mucus, helping now it move off lung walls and airway surfaces, wherein it keeps airway open, preventing collapse. Remember, sabi nga natin, kapag ganito, hydration is the key. No, yung water ninyo helps make mucus thinner and easier to clear. Okay? So, paano ba ginagawang PEP?
PEP stands for positive expiratory pressure. This is only to be used following assessment and advice from your physiotherapist. PEP is an airway clearance technique. There are different devices on the market. Here we have 2 mouthpiece devices. Start with a low resistance. Allow your patient to take a breath in through the nose and breathe out through the device. If the patient finds this easy, you can gradually start to increase the resistance of the PEP device. You're looking for an effective technique that allows them to clear sputum. If they feel they need to clear sputum, allow them time to stop, cough, and spit it out. Otherwise, if they feel breathless doing it, allow them time to return to breathing control. The other type we have is a spring. Twist the spring to increase or decrease the resistance. Again, allow your patient to take a breath in and then breathe out through the device.
Okay, next we have our active cycle breathing technique or ACBT. Structured airway clearance and technique na may 3 stages, yung breathing control, thoracic expansion, and your forced expiratory technique, yung huffing. Your stage 1, breathing control, or relaxed breathing. So, ang purpose niyan is to help patient recover from breathlessness and use proper breathing muscles. No? So, dapat comfortable ang posisyon ng pasyente, sitting upright or side-lying. Tapos ang shoulders and arms, relax po dapat. So, breathe in through the nose at comfortable pace. Tapos, exhale through the mouth, still relax. So, avoid lifting shoulders. Tapos, focus on tummy, moving softly in and out. So, maintain it to 1 to 2 minutes or as guided by the therapist. So, stage 1 helps maintain or the patient calm down, no? Control their breathing and prepare for secretion mobilization. Stage 2, no? Thoracic expansion exercises, ang purpose naman ito, ma-improve yung air entry sa lahat ng parts ng lungs to loosen secretions. So, take a long, slow breath in through the nose to fill lungs fully. Hold the breath up to 5 seconds. Exhale through the mouth at comfortable pace. No? Don't rush the next breath. Rushing can push secretions deeper daw po or further. And then we have the stage 3 forced expiratory technique or huffing. So, ang purpose is to move secretions from smaller airways papunta sa central airways para madaling makhuff. So, take a slightly deeper than normal breath through the nose, not as big as thoracic expansion. Open mouth into in an O shaped and huff out as if trying a steam in a mirror. So engage the tummy muscles to push air out. Secretion should move upward, cough, or short, sharp huff to clear. So importante dito, avoid ang huffing too hard. Excessive force can cause wheezing kasi. So listen for crackles, subtle if few secretions, louder if marami. So we limit to 1 to 2 per cycle to prevent coughing, fits, or wheezing. So the stage 3 is the stage that mostly needs supervision ng respiratory physiotherapist para masiguro effective clearance.
Active cycle of breathing technique. It is a 3-phase cycle. The first phase is breathing control. Place your hand on your stomach and take a relaxed breath in through your nose and a relaxed, gentle breath out through your mouth. You want to be looking not to expand into the chest, but to expand into the stomach on the breath in. If you find on the breath out it is difficult with an open mouth, you may prefer a pursed lip breath. Repeat this for 5 times. After the 5th, move on to phase 2, the thoracic expansion exercise. Here, place your hands onto your rib cage. Take a longer, deeper breath in through the nose, and then open the mouth and take a gentle, long breath out through the mouth. During this phase, you're looking to get the movement of the ribs out, like so, and then come back in again on the breath out. Again, on the breath out, if you find it difficult with an open mouth, purse your lips together, and this will make it easier. After the 5th, you can either go back to phase 1, the breathing control, or move on to phase 3, the forced expiratory technique. Here, you can mimic steaming up a window or mirror by using your hand. You take a long breath in through the nose, and then open the mouth to huff out. And again, if you feel you can do it without using the visual aid of your hand, you can continue the practice. You can do it by taking a smaller breath in through the nose and a longer huff out through the mouth, or a longer breath in through the nose and a short, quick huff out through the mouth. At this point, you may feel the need to cough and clear.
Di ba may lalabas na sa kanya? Okay? So, instructions natin. So, relax sa paghinga, 5 to 10 seconds or 3 times, no? Inhale sa ilong, bugas sa bibig. Inhale sa ilong, bugas sa bibig. Inhale sa ilong, bugas sa bibig. Hingang malalim. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. Hingang malalim. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. Hingang malalim. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. Inhale sa ilong, bugas sa bibig. Inhale sa ilong, bugas sa bibig. Tapos inhale sa ilong. 1, 2, 3, bugas sa bibig. Inhale sa ilong. 1, 2, 3, bugas sa bibig. Inhale sa ilong. 1, 2, 3, bugas sa bibig. Tapos half na. No? Kapag halving na, gawin ng half para sa malalim na plema sa unang 1-2 cycle. Gawin ng half para sa mababaw na plema sa huling 1-2 cycle. Kung malalim ang plema, no, hinga mababaw, tapos buga. Okay? Kapag yung half para sa mababaw na plema, hingang malalim, bago mag-half. Kapag mababaw yung plema. Malinaw? Malinaw po. Okay. So, sundin niyo yung 3 phases. Yung meron tayong thoracic cage expansion. Malinaw po? Okay. So, in terms of coughing, or cupping, no, we have full cup, hand, 4 fingers, 3 fingers, or thinner or hyper-thinner surfaces. And we also avoid bony surfaces or areas or breast tissues. Okay, kapag po nag-anti-percussion. Malinaw? We also have a vibration wherein there is a heel of hand during exhalation. Tapos ang shaking nyo, nagkakaroon ng interlocking both thumbs and shake during exhalation na more vigorous than vibration. So, vibration and shaking is to be done during exhalation. Okay? So, ang postural drainage, no, 20 to 30 minutes ang ginagawa. For example, 10 minutes yung head down, 5 minutes ang percussion, vibration shaking, tapos 5 minutes yung resting in position. So, important to loosen the secretions, pero lagi tandaan, safety first. Avoid yung bones, breast tissue, at na ma-hurt yung child. Okay? So, let's talk about the positioning kasi this is very important para sa effective postural drainage at mas madaling ma-clear yung secretion sa lungs. Okay? So, ito po yung mga different positions natin ha. Kung ganito naman yung age ng pasyente, similar lang sa adult positions. Okay? So, basic principle, always position the child so that the part of the lung we want to drain is higher than the rest of the lung. So, yung gravity helps po move the secretions towards central airways. So, paano po position yung child? So, you can place your child on your lap, no? This is especially helpful for infants and toddlers. Tapos, i-bend yung knees and hips. This helps naman the child relax and makes it easier to cough. Make sure that the child feels supported and comfortable kasi tension or discomfort can make breathing shallow, no? And nare-reduce yung secretion clearance. So always remember, correct positioning enhances the effect of percussion, the vibration and huffing techniques we just discussed. Okay? So we can adjust the pillows, no, yung unan, pati yung cushions as needed as to maintain the angle of the patient or the positioning of the patient. So we should keep also monitoring the child's comfort and breathing. No, sabi nga natin, stop na kapag po nadidistress yung child. Okay? Ito pa yung other natin, no, positioning. No, you can check your book sa Teclean Cardiopulmonary Exercises. Ayan pa yung iba. Okay? And this one. So, for exercise prescription, we usually follow your ACSM standardized protocols. No? Yung nasa table is a guideline, pero syempre, kailangan natin i-adjust depende sa kaya ng pasyente. Kung kaya niya mas maraming repetitions or mas matagal, pwede pa natin gamitin yun as baseline. Pero typically, 10 reps in standard baseline natin para sa initial assessment, di ba? Or treatment. Tama po? Pero you can do or follow this table initially. Okay, for cardiopulmonary conditions or patients. O makita mo dyan, cardiorespiratory training, ang frequency mo, 3 to 5 days per week, 40% or 50 to 85% ang target heart rate, or 12 to 16 ang RPE scale. Ang duration, 20 to 60 minutes. Ang activity, more on big muscle groups, dynamic activities like walking, cycling, swimming. So ang goal dito, improve ang cardiovascular endurance without overtaxing the patient. No? Monitor yung heart rate and RPE para safe. Resistance training, frequency natin 2 to 3 days per week. Ang intensity, stop 2 to 3 repetitions before volitional fatigue or until the patient feels near fatigue. So usually one set of 3 to 20 repetitions. For example, you can do 3 to 5, 8 to 10, or 12 to 15 repetitions depending on the patient capacity. Ang activity mo, 8 to 10 exercises covering all major muscle groups. Importante dito, resistance training should challenge the muscles but hindi dapat magdulot ng pain or injury. Kaya nga, stop na tayo 2 to 3 reps before volitional fatigue. Flexibility training, frequency niyan, minimal, 2 to 3 days per week. Ang ideal natin, 5 to 7 days per week. Ang intensity, stretch until tightness, pero hindi hanggang sa point of pain. Ang duration, hold 15 to 30 seconds, 2 to 3, or 2 to 4 repetitions per stretch. Ang activity natin, static stretching for all major muscle groups. So, flexibility is often overlooked, pero mahalaga po siya to maintain the joint RON and prevent injuries. Lalo na kung may chronic condition or post-surgery patients po yan. So in summary, follow the ECSM guidelines for initial parameters pero always adjust based on the patient tolerance. So use RPE, your target heart rate, and subjective feedback para safe and effective ang program natin. So that ends our lecture for today. These are our references, no? Aside from Teclean, meron tayong mga references na kinuha sa inyong Kistner, as well as other books. Okay? So that ends our lecture for today. Thank you for listening. Have a nice day.